le chido ni to ni sa ni da wa bi chi ni sa sum de sa sa ni nyam je ge so ro mi to kan hen so ge so te ma chu na chi ge ka de na ro mi to kan chi shin chi du to ro shi me ne kan la Geneva mo go de ni sambo Geneva nyam je ge so ro mi to kan ki le kum Palais Wilson to mi ma hen gom na gu.
Welcome everyone. We will start the program with singing of Tibetan national anthem, followed by a minute of silence in memory and as a mark of respect to our martyrs.
Switzerland and Liechtenstein projet mima il sorto comme tu qui la chone zegu unzu ki son shenangyo.
A welcome speech by the President of Tibetan Community Switzerland and Liechtenstein, Mrs. Kamachigila.
Ilana mebe uchi samni shide tebe kyamgo kute kosa kute chimbu achupshi chimbu chola kuja mundu sembe to tatari de Swiss ki sane Geneva la nyambe gezu ki soche sote ngachunga chi de la ani ngat Swiss and Liechtenstein firmi mantone pönangi nedang ani Nide za tauru dobe ki tone nganzu ani nishu yubatang ante legu dela ani nyamshu nange ki kong 겨울부채 ki kuzap tang zenju pimi diksu ki kuzap tenju kongwe chile chula cho tang hari de gabyung ani shue la ani tango kangzu ne shu cheni ani yu pimil henzoki sozo tang yu shunul henzoki ani sozo nyiti thari de nganzu nyamshu kyu di tang ani ngaranzu Switzerland and Liechtenstein purmima dikzu ki gyule tumi namba shungde maim be sope social number and the shinki ani mima thari chale na tuzi imbachila khangmangman chikresha ani itsama la samri ta ani kuzi shue yi an pönangi netang de tangi ki shumo go betone nire doru tuguyore anganzu de thari ta inchi thone nishuchik ani tandanyamde kezola ani pubati nyama charu shuchobachi shue di gong tu chinda chupen na la ni shu yo ma zu ki nyam de ge zo ki ani gen shin ge de jibu chi de yo re an ta da jibu te ba ti nyama phume madam pashile de ta thanda Mr. Volker Turk. Your Excellency, at the outset, the Tibetan community in Switzerland and Liechtenstein would like to congratulate you on your appointment as the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. With your long career within the UN system, in particular your contribution in advancing the universal human rights with dedicated service in protecting the vulnerable people, including refugees and stateless persons, we hope you will hear and listen the voices of the Tibetans during your tenure in the new position and responsibility as the United Nations Chief for Protection and Promotion of Human Rights. At every Human Rights Council session, we have been submitting appeal letters calling for an urgent action from the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights to help protect the rights of the Tibetan people under China's control. The response from your predecessor had been disheartening and daunting. However, we have not given up and continue to place our faith in the good offices of the United Nations, especially when people inside Tibet still look upon the office of High Commissioner, believing their voices will be heard and do justice for Tibet. The situation in Tibet is deteriorating significantly. The government of People's Republic of China systematically denies every facet of fundamental rights of Tibetan people. Today, the survival of the Tibetan people with its distinct culture and identity is under severe threat. Any expression which deviates from the official line of the Chinese Communist Party is subjected to arbitrary arrests, incommunicado detention, enforced disappearance, unjust sentencing, and torture. Despite severe political and social clampdown in Tibet, Tibetans continue to speak up for basic rights as enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Your Excellency, the violations of human rights in Tibet by the government of China is a long list. In this appeal letter, we would like to particularly draw your attention for two most present pressing issues that call for now or never to bring United Nations human rights monitoring and protection mechanisms in action with regard to Tibet. Number one, deprivation of basic health amenities and misuse of China's so-called zero COVID measures in Tibet. As people across the world are gradually recovering from COVID-19 pandemic, the pandemic situation in Tibet continues to be deeply disturbing. China's stringent so-called zero COVID measures without proper planning and unfurnished quarantine center has put Tibetans in a double-chained situation. In addition to lack of access to basic health amenities, including medicines and proper food, infected Tibetans are subjected to quarantine in empty houses without beds and serviceless quarantine centers. Tibetans who are tested COVID negative are reportedly mandated to stay in quarantine centers along with infected patients. Despite stringent measures against any form of expression depicting on-ground situation in Tibet, Tibetans have openly expressed the problem on Chinese social media platforms like Weibo, WeChat, TikTok, and other social media platforms. pleading to protect them from China's mismanagement and misuse of pandemic situation. Number 2, suppression and Sinicization of Tibetan culture, religion and language. With China's education policy to inter-ethnic marriage policy and ever-growing push for Buddhism with Chinese characteristics, the fundamental freedoms of Tibetans to practice and preserve centuries-old Tibetan Buddhist culture and tradition is systematically denied. In the name of bilingual education policy, teaching in the Tibetan language is being replaced by Mandarin. Tibetans without Chinese language skills are often sidelined with limited or no opportunity in the job market. Due to state-led assimilatory policies in Tibet, an increasing number of Tibetan children cannot write, speak, or understand Tibetan language in Tibet. Hence, the state of Tibetan language, culture, and identity is at stake. With China's colonial-style policy in Tibet, an increasing number of Tibetan children cannot write, speak, and understand Tibetan language in Tibet. Hence, the state of Tibetan language, culture, and identity is at stake. With China's colonial-style boarding school in Tibet, Tibetan children as young as age 4 are taken away from family, own community, and culture in order to destroy one's own cultural upbringing and instill Chinese characteristic upbringing. The abduction of Tibet's 11th Panchen Lama, Gyenten Chögyal Nyima, who is still nowhere to be seen since 17 May 1995, is a matter of serious concern. Despite repeated calls by the United Nations experts demanding China to reveal Gyenten Chögyal Nyima's well-being, the Chinese authorities have turned deaf ears. It has been 27 years since the enforced disappearance of then 6-year-old boy Gyenten Chögyal Nyima. China, meddling in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition of identifying and recognizing reincarnation of Tibetan Buddhist religious heads and spiritual teachers, not only undermine the sentiments of Tibetan Buddhist followers, but also a matter of serious concern, which needs to be addressed without any further delay. A meaningful and timely address of CCP's interferences of Tibetan Buddhist reincarnation practices is a key to prevention of further violations of rights, prevention of conflict and unrest in Tibet. Your Excellency, Tibetan communities in Switzerland and Liechtenstein call upon you to please speak and defend human rights independent from any form of influences and pressures, including from China. Keep the voices of the victims of human rights abuses, including Tibetans, over states' engagement and interaction with Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. Strengthen your office's human rights monitoring mechanism and reporting capacity on the violations of the human rights by Communist Party of China. Keep Tibet on agenda for the holistic approach in addressing violations of human rights by China, signed by President and Vice President of TCSL. And Tamadela Chino Consequences Chibu Kuse Shabe Tembatang and Pugitenda Yutu Seveke Melamto and Tarite Yamshunang Samalani Tabane to Chishui.
Switzerland and Liechtenstein Puri Mima get Toto Kamachugi Chola to Chishui. The DJ la the Domtola number Tamangone Kamachunga Ringla Kimber Nayang.
Thank you, Mrs. Kamachugila. Now we will start with the slogan shouting.
We
demand human rising. We demand human rising. Stop repression and torturing. Stop repression and torturing. Stop the killing. Stop the killing. Tibet is burning. Tibet is burning. We demand religious freedom. We demand religious freedom. We demand religious freedom. Let the Dalai Lama. Let the Dalai Lama. Let the Dalai Lama.
Böge Pume Torbe Torshu, and Bassan La Chone, Sushinangu.
Thank you, everyone. Now we will have the speech by Madam Pasangla, the Vice President of the Swiss Tibetan Women's Organization.
Taritiga Swiss Peri Memange Tizu, Tikoti Ho. Nyamde gezo ki do mi toptan teng up ju ngaji kapsu pebe shipjabe ani Swiss sane tenju kuta cho ani Swiss pemidi su sozo cho ani Europe tenzo ye sozo cho an tega nanshi sibe zadi sobe sozo an mi se ki tega pebe ani tanda yu shunu lenzo ki chozo gombula ani yu pime lenzo ki chozo sirang omula tenzi romula ni Tibet watch ne kuzab wangye la wangten kyab an tiga nanshin tanda de ani simshu tembe ngaran su Philippine dal henge yong tanda tarin de zomba de la ani thoma chamti ta che ani nga de Swiss phegi pimelen so ki soshyen ge ngo thone do shuye an tanda de da nga zu chi ta phe nang gi ne dan di chilu chi dong gukyang ngap ju nga gu ne nga zu phe di ge mi chi su che be uzu ne che khon zu yer wa nga zu na la ani chepsi ke yi ri shu ka la ta na ju hale ba ta yer re chele ge wa ta yer re dil henge zu chame khense re ani nga zu khati ne da Domi nyamde gezo re ani tanda de domi thopda liu ge de khati ine session kabla nganju ki ani yeshu pide pishi bare tiga na shi tanda da ka su bawe ge ani nenga shi shi jila tanda da phe na la ani gemi gi ani siju lokba covid 0 she cherwa khonan chu gi mi zo di khale shuna ami zo di da khonan chu gi tanda 진짜 주변에 나라 아니 그런지 소재 소배 갑라이 그봐 걔나 마셔 얘가 그런지 소재 소배가 premii 다 아니 참말로도 담라게 쳐도 미게 딜로바지를 쳐체 안디가 나시 코비드 다다 뇽데베 비게 라다 코나줄라 맨주기 튕게 된조 이나게 할레와 겨우 단다 점리 나라 이나 코비드 게 내다 참말로 야게 두고요레 먼저 참마데 다 녀마도 지나 참마 카레 쾌체 겜베 야가자고 달레달라 데다 참말로 카레 쾌 먹어봐 얘가 가봐 이나게 아니 코비드 게 내다 게 팀돌 르양 차양체레 최대가라 야게 체레 근데 내가 매버 가라 단다 야나기 단다 비게라 아니 미규 디카르스나 소디아는 아주 베미초라도 나르제 타야게 미규 디라레 안디가 나시 비게 아니 아주 코란주기 두서 quarantine 와 아니 네버솔라도 샤야데라 아니 지가 딱시 맞춰 맞췄는데 최대한게 딱시 네부지 따다지 맞춰 맞춰와 아니 네버 이임보다 네버 멤버들 창마도 박사나라 샤체 아니 맨주게 최대한게 잡요 매버다 디가 나시 아니 다 미임베 친이 가주 다 대사 맨주도 상말로 아니 전부리 여기 미 창말로 덮방 여리 이내 가주 비게 변한게 premii 저 창말로 또 박사나라 샤체 네버 the COVID never in but the member church nyamula ti tan cherwa ani premii la na che shush tangi wati ta zambuling ki khense rwa ho ta di ka la ni ngazu ta da bigu shue chi la rwa ta ani ngazu phe gi na la tu sta phe ngazu zambuling chi da rwa ani khawa de chin kanye chewa de chin na ani do mi thop da liu in re ani WHO 이나게 참에게 아니 네가 내가 친구지 지내와 아니 디소 송겹 체라 베지슈 제가 사실 배나게 배면서 아니 미마르베 와 아니 소자 네가 아니 다시다 nen데 체체 나줄래도 아니 스도나고도 네가 냥보다 배나라 다 DNA 다시 체디 DNA 다시 체디 다 된다 세레게와 아니 가도 아와 친주 롱롱가 네와 이게바 창마라 딘데와 아니 소소게라 라와메베 토네 르바 코나주게 아니 DNA 다시 렌체 도셰디 마오바 콘종가 다 베미솔라 쌈메다야게 미유 르바 디인자 딘데 도섭나죠 와라 냐데와디라 아니 가도 베미 베나라 가도 베리핀다 so 냐데와디라 아니 समय अनि जब्यो नारो नास र मोय के जब्यो ना दा अनि पिगेला तो सितो फेचे र अनि त नंगु दोस न तो लदि अनि न तो नामसे गुन बिगु शुगु यरे अनि त न तो शुगु देला अनि समय के तो जब्यो नारो नास छे न तो ते शुए यि दिदे न्या बोतन ये खुसी तो तो शुशुवाची so on the 8th of 51st session of United Nations Human Rights Council we called upon China to address specific and human rights violation and urge China to grant unheld access, complete assessments of the human rights violation in Tibet. So strengthening engagement with the independent human rights experts and human rights council mechanism is crucial to full and transparent enforcement of China's human rights obligation. Tibetans have been denied to inherit dignity of being human in Tibet. The tortures, enforcement, disappearance, and destruction of monasteries carried out by the government of China since 1959 is an act of crime against humanity and cultural genocide. The Chinese government is already subjecting Tibetans to repression like taking blood for DNA samples from children of age above 5 and older without consent to strengthen their surveillance capabilities. These mass DNA collections drives are part of ongoing efforts of Chinese authorities to establish police presence at the grassroots level throughout the region. Coercing people to give blood samples or taking blood samples is a violation of an individual's privacy, dignity, and rights to human health. The right to respect for the confidentiality and the medical information is also a core principle of the rights of health all over the world. So DNA information is highly sensitive and can facilitate a wide array of abuse if collected or shared non-consensually. Any compelled collection or use of any government is a serious intrusion on the rights of privacy and the right against the human health. The collection, processing, and use of genetic information poses heightened risks to the children's health and privacy. DNA holds highly sensitive information that would uniquely and permanently identify a child and their family members and inherits medical conditions that could lead to disabilities and major health problems. The use and exposure of this data may have adverse consequences on children, which can continue to affect them in later age of their lives. And the second, on COVID-0. So China's COVID-0 approach presumes an unending emergency and relies on severely restricted mass testings and quarantines. Exceptionally intrusive technologies and human surveillance and brutal large-scale lockdown. A very brutal large-scale lockdown. Tibetans are kept in an unhygienic place and given a malnutrition and lack of medical facilities. So we urge the United Nations Human Rights Council hold China accountable, the whole China accountable on the handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. And we strongly urge the member states to hold a special session to establish a country mandate of the United Nations Special Rapporteur on China to monitor and analyze and report annually on the human rights situation in Tibet and other regions under the People's Republic of China. So we strongly call upon the international community to ensure international law obligations on human rights are carried out by the Chinese Communist Party. Long live His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Hey, Gallo! Hey, Gallo!
sobe soshun pasana la tuchi no shui dijene mutwe ne yang zo kama chonga ringala kembe nangu.
Thank you, Madam Pasanla. And now we will continue with the slogan shouting.
Stop killing!